What is up, guys? My name's Harrison and I am back with some more Age of Empires 3 for you today. This is the ESOC Winter Tournament 2020, and this is one of the opening matches in the Advanced Division, the round of 32 between Danielek and wookl. This is a German mirror on the map Arkansas, with Danielek piloting the Germans on the left-hand side in the colour blue, with wookl piloting the Germans on the right-hand side of the map in the colour red. It looks like it's a food start, just a single food crate start, I believe. Both players are going for the early market, or Danielek has started. wookl's still thinking of what he's going to do, whether he's going to go for a house and maybe get an earlier age up with all the food treasures on the map. Yeah, he's dropping a house. We've already seen a deviation already in 30 seconds, so we'll have to find out which one's the best. wookl has moved forward into the map and he's already picked up 95. Oh no, if he had a market right now, this would been so beneficial for wookl. He had only to change chop 5 wood for the house and 50 wood for the hunting dogs, which is a really easy achievable thing with his economy, especially he's already picked up a 50 coin treasure. This would have been a perfect start for the German player for the red player here. However, he's gone for the early house and he's made his bed. He's now going to have to line it, but that's okay. That's in the past. Put it behind him, focus on and move on. Danielek has come across a 75 wood treasure right in the centre of the map. This is risky. This is in the centre of the map. It's not to the side. It's not protected. This is at risk of being picked up. However, it looks like wookl's going for his own treasure. Unfortunately, it's a level 1. It's a tier 1. It's 40 food. Useful in its own right. However, Danielek moves to the treasure, got the crack shot off, and has got to pick up 75 wood on his own. wookl is still ahead at this point in terms of the treasures. He did get that 95 wood and a 50 coin in-base treasure. However, I think Danielek would be happy to take that treasure in the centre of the map. He's already got the market, hunting dogs, 75 woods. That helps that early TP as well. So they're both sitting on woods. So we're expecting an early TP during transition. Oh, hello. Oh, nice to meet you. Oh, please don't shoot me. Oh, no. Have that. Take that. Take that. Ha. Yeah. even the players are commenting that they've met in the same place at the same time. They've essentially done a similar exploring pass. They've both walked to the middle of the map, scattered slightly around the top of their thing, and then they've walked towards the south side of the map, into the centre, and back up into the middle. However, Danielek had the higher HP at that point, and so he took the engagement, selected the hands combat, and he snares the German opponent. And he has to run back because, just like the previous series which I casted, you don't want to lose your German explorer in a German mirror in Age 1. 22 HP, it's just 2 shots needed. 11, this could be a 0 HP situation. This shot coming in, he's still alive! No, go back! Oh no, don't do that! Ah! Oh, he's still got 121 HP, but he's snooping around. He smells that wookl needs to sit in his base with his explorer. He's coming in, he's moving for the kill. But with Germany, you don't want to be putting your settler wagons into the town centre to slow down. He's going for the closest TP to wookl. It's been recently changed in the patch where the TP does not obey the town centre building radius. And wookl is starting to walk out of his base. He's walking out of base on 0 HP. Don't do this, mate. This is a game of where do you put your training post and what do you do? He's just duped him. He's just duped him. Danielek's over. He's recovered to 18 HP now. Okay, Danielek knows that they both want to put a TP, and if he can just catch when wookl comes out of his base, he's just seen it. He put his TP down there. He got denied. He heard that sound. It got cancelled. He knows it's there. He's on 18 HP. Can he get 2 shots in before it gets up? 200? Yes, he can. That is absolutely huge in this mirror, and I can tell you from previous matches and previous recordings that although when you age up, the explorer will get plus 100 HP, the training post, because it's not completed, will not revive the explorer, I believe. I'll have to find out in 3 seconds. 3, 2... Setter's coming to revive. That's smart. Because you wouldn't be in a situation where you just thought about, can I do this now? And you just find out, actually, it won't revive you. But the settlers come out, helped him up, and they finally built their trading post together. But as a result, Danielek's missed his own pass. So they're both although they've both delayed the trading post, in the end it hasn't really come to anything. wookl will still get that XP before danielek, so it could have been a case of if danielek used a settler wagon to build a trading post while using his explorer to hunt down wookl's explorer, he could have been a situation where he had a trading post up beforehand, get 1 or 2 passes of XP, and have that initiative of the experience curve. I think after having 0 HP in his is he going to get shot from it? Run away, run away, run away! Ah, yes. I think after the age 1, I think wookl be quite relieved of that. It was a sigh of breath of relief after having a 0 HP in your town centre, but getting the trading post up before your opponents. 3 settler wagons opens up for wookl. 2 ulans pop out as well. The shipment comes in 10 seconds before danielek, and they've both gone for an opening 3 settler wagons. We do have a deviation. danielek has gone for the stable build, where wookl has gone for a starting barracks. Let's look at units in queue. Are we going to see a semi-FF from both players? We've gone for DOPS in queue for wookl. I don't see any cavalry yet. He's got 40 out of 40 pops. Or he's already trained. He's trained a batch of 5 already before his second shipment's coming. As German player at this point, I'd like to sell a bit of food and buy 1 batch of woods to get that house to get to 50-50. Because at the moment you cannot train any more cav at this point. And so, yeah, so he's built a house and he's instantly queued up a villager, a house, another shipment. But having that delayed house would make it a bit awkward. Yeah, wookl's already on 50 pop. Ulan raid coming from the top, and the settlers are staying around. They're beating the cavalry in. That is quite a smart play. I would have ran into the town centre at the first sight of 7 cav. However, he tried to bait the danielek's cavalry in as fast as possible just to get the doppelsonders out onto them. However, danielek was very cautious. He didn't want to overcommit to taking out some 2 or 3 settlers and lose his early mass, because if he lost all 7 cavalry there to the doppelsonders, you can guarantee that they'll be marching straight to the to the trading post to tear that down and preserve his own trading post and have the experience curve ahead of danielek. danielek puts himself 135 XP, and he's already spent it. So that was a very important shipment for him there. He's queued up his next shipment coming on. They've both sent themselves 700 wood as their second card, and I imagine both players are looking to send 700 coin as their third card. Or in this case, danielek, he may have already sent this on, but he might be doing 3 doppelsonders because he's not macroing to age up. The reason I say this is you've already got 700 coin in the... Well, you may do, but if you send 700 coin, you're only going to need 300 of that to age up, and then the rest basically is just coin which you could have saved at another point. Dropping in base barracks, we'll have to find out what that shipment comes in because I can't read the players just yet. wookl's got 300 of each resources. He could send himself 700 coin and that'd be useful, but danielek he's cancelled the shipment. I was wondering what was going on. So he may have had coin on the way or 3 doppels to protect. He has cancelled the shipment, but he's on 700 resources, 700 food, 900 coin. Not gathering coin. Needs to sell food to get the coin, but he still needs to get the food. He's gone for a mine already. Jesus Christ. That's a very fast chew rate of the German player to go through 1 mine already. Where 1 cavalry stuck there. Raiding from wookl. He's housed a lot of players, but he's mismacroed. No, he's mismicroed, should I say? His attention was elsewhere, and 3 cavalry dropped down for 3 there. There's a bit of action already. We've seen wookl taking out the German explorer, getting his revenge for age 1. 5 doppelsonders marching their way across the map. We got 4 from here. We had the 700 coin shipped from wookl, but that was to fund further doppelsonder production, while danielek has... Oh, he's only just clicked up to age up. A semi-FF with an age up time of 850 clicking up. He's going to age up with 2 shipments in the bank, but the decision to not send 700 coin, or to go 700 wood first and then not send 700 coin, may prove to be a bit decisive here, because he's got nothing to defend himself. If he sent 700 coin first and then 700 wood, he'd be up, a shipment be out. It's called Minutemen, but it's Minutemen versus doppelsonders. He can't pull in the cavalry to reinforce, and yeah, the cavalry just say, no, I don't want that. I want to get away from these absolute tanks in melee combat versus cavalry, multipliers, and area of attack damage. And yes, it was like 300 resources. He's taken out 1 or 2 doppelsonders. He's put a bit of better time in, but I think wookl's happy with this. Like, that was a free enough Minutemen pop. If he comes in later with a large army, he's fine. The cav come in, a swing there. One sacrificing not to be snared, but he's belling up 11 settlers here, and I assume all his settler wagons are gathering coin. However, if they're all gathering coin, there's nobody gathering food. If you've got no food, you're not trading units in Age 3 unless you are saving up for the mercenary shipments. What I will be concerned though, if danielek is going for a mercenary shipment play, he's chewed through his first coin mine, he's rapidly eating his second coin mine, he's only got 600 left, and then his next coin mine is... so that was coin mine 2. Those are even, that's central, those two even, that's central. Yeah, the coin mines in this map, I'm calling it, they're fair, but they are far away for coin mine 3, 4, and central number 1 and central number 2. So danielek is, ideally he wants to push now where he has the tech advantage, and decides what he wants to do with his surplus coin. I missed it whether he had enough coin to drop a mercenary shipment. However, we'll have to find out. His first shipment in Age 3 was 3 war wagons. A very standard deck in Age 3. No 5 doppels, going for the 1,000 coin instead, or some combination. But he's pushing forward with 5 skirms, 3 war wagons. He's picking up... Yeah, so all the doppelstonners are now down for wookl. We'll see what he's got. He's got 13 Age 2 cavalry. He needs to get our villagers exposed on the coin mine. We have Colonial Ulan versus Colonial Ulan. Actually, it's wookl who's getting the veteran cavalry upgrade first. So the person who's aged up later has got the veteran cavalry upgrade before danielek. However, danielek's main focus on the army is the war wagons. But with a 9 Ulan shipment on top of the 13 he originally had, he has a large army of Ulans. Currently 20 Ulans to chase down 3 war wagons. Now, war wagons are clumsy. They have to stop to turn around to shoot. Each time you turn around to shoot, you're allowing the entire mass of the cavalry to get on top, and they've surrounded and they picked the 1, 2, and the third's down, and we've currently got 17 Ulans on the field with just the 3 war wagons. As far as wookl now, you'd be tempted to push forwards, but still 3 war wagons and near the base of a possible shipment being sent in from danielek, because he nearly had 2 on his age up. This could be slightly overextending, because we've got the TC on the Ulans, we've got the skirmishers on the Ulans, we've got the war wagons on the Ulans, and he's got down to 10, well, 7 in the fight, with 3 reinforcing. Yes, he's just taken down the war wagons. However, he has no cav mass behind this. 9 Ulans himself come out, but they're colonial age Minutemen. We've got Minutemen moving forward across the map with 1 HP, and these have done some work actually. They have at least done, I don't know, 5 to 10 volleys, because they were shooting in the middle of the map, shooting over here and shooting in the base. But danielek has 8 Ulans on the field, 11 skirmishers, and he's realised that wookl has lost a large amount of units in his own base, and he's going to press forward with the advantage he currently has. He's moved his coin miners onto the top of the map because he's gone through his second mine already. wookl's just gone through his second. He's got some idols. You could possibly shift click them onto another mine when you're nearly out. And there's a rare moment of peace in the German mirror. Everyone just chills back. And oh, this is very smart. Both players are very conscious that coin mines are the key. I don't need to check the hunts in the map because everyone's still in their second hunt by the end of the game, but the coin mines are running out. danielek knows that the German settlers are here, and he has not attacked them deliberately to not sound off the alarm bell. But this could be devastating. Ulan's making their way down and being cut off by a small amount, but with a unit population of 30 to 35, he's catching off the settlers. The settlers need to run quickly first. We've got Black Riders incoming. Do they have the HP on them? They do, so they might lose a couple, but if the Ulans can get onto the skirmishers, snare that, they can get a good trade with the Black Riders. They need to start firing and making most of their very high, strong stats at this point. A couple of Ulans down, there's only 4 left. Just turn onto the skirmishers now. The Ulans do not want to come back into this fight. Preserve all your hand cavalry you can and just clean up the skirmisher mass. This is overextended on the skirmishers. He's got no protection. He's moved out the map in a German mirror with no cavalry protection with him. This is a recipe for disaster. More veteran Ulans coming in from wookl reinforcing. He has pulled back his Black Riders to protect him from the range fire of the skirmishers. However, I possibly feel that more of a solid commitment onto the skirmishers could have knocked down a few of them earlier and then just made that mass a little bit easier to clean up. However, having said that, after 15 minutes, military population even. economic population, even. Danielek has sent an extra Age 3 shipment, however, wookl has sent an Age 2 shipment, and that was Palatine settlements. You don't normally see 700 wood and Palatine settlements as well, but wookl, he's just going to be getting food and gold. He's never going to need to chop a bit of wood again, because he doesn't need to. He's got his veteran Ulan upgrade, he's got decent market techs, he's going to fund production off of 1 barracks and 1 stable. He's sent himself 8 Ulans at this point, but he doesn't need to worry about houses. Danielek is currently on 100 population. He needs to be careful that his next shipment will take him over pop before he engages. But we have a pure Cav mass from wookl onto Cav skirm. Now, Cav ranged infantry are going to do one over the Cav skirm, because the range cavalry and the cavalry engage just the smaller cavalry mass of the blue pair, and blue pair mass of cavalry is going. It's 5 Ulans versus 8, but it's surprisingly equal actually. That's the German mirror, every bit of cav just falls down, and just all the other units just stand there going, "Ah, cavalry just all fell down." But it only needs a small amount of Ulans, about 4 or 5 on the cav onto the skirm mass, just to overpower them and take them down there. 25 population for wookl onto 0. Danielek is gathering out the front of his base. He's got no safe hunt. He's got exposed coin villages onto this on his fourth coin mine, and he's moving to the central. But both players are now moving settlers into the middle of the coin mine. wookl going to see this. He's got to turn around. He's running. He knows. Can a Black Rider outdo a veteran war wagon? We'll have to find out. But with a reinforced other mass of 8 war wagons and 5 from the top, Danielek has to act fast. He has to push units in quickly, and he's called the GG. He knows that his village is out of position. He's got no military behind to back it up. The settler wagons will be taking too much damage from the hand cav, and it's just too much eco there to lose. And oh, GG! What a thrilling game German mirrors always are. Just to let know that the coin mines are equal. I wouldn't want a player to think that their map was unequal, but it's very hard to solo cast and check map at the same time. And I've got a chat on somewhere, but to be honest, I've only looked at it like once or twice. Whew. So what did we see here? We saw the Age 1 play with the getting the Red Explorer down to 0 HP in the town, but did not finish the town, the Explorer off. Just imagine, on Age 2, the Explorer revived near a nearly built trading post, but he could have been revived in the town centre with no trading post built. So if Danielek just committed to take him out there, he could have risked his own Explorer. I don't know if it would have been a good move or not at that point. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. At this play I wouldn't know. But they got the Explorers, the trading posts up. wookl got his up before the other player. Both sent 700 wood. The 3 settler wagon, 700 wood. Danielek went for early stable. wookl went for early dops, or early barracks into dops. And Danielek was going for a 5 cav semi-FF. Lost. He managed to keep most of his cav alive, but the cav can't touch doppelsodders. And he was in his base. He ran out of a coin mine at a very awkward time, and he just struggled to get the resources going for the Age 3. That delayed his Age 3, and by the time he got to Age 3, he didn't have that push he really wanted. Let's check the military resource count. That's probably the most defining one. And we see, although wookl was in Blue's base, tricking off units, but actually taking out most of the units, and Danielek aged to Age 3 with 4 Ulans instead of preserving all of his Ulans with he previously had a population of about 28. It's likely there's 11 Ulans, 6 Minutemen, or some combination. But when the shipments would start coming up, Danielek did not have a military lead at really any point, so they basically had different paths to Age 3, but they basically came at the same point, and then just wookl kind of took over. And this fight with the cav on the skirmishers, once the skirmishers gone, the writing was on the wall, a cav batch from reinforcing cav batch on the centre gold mine, and that was it. The game was over there. GG was called. Whew. Right, if every game's like that, we'll be in for another enthralling series. And they're waiting for me into the game lobby. It looks like wookl has selected the Chinese civilization into Colorado. we'll see what danielek's on the response, but I haven't checked if wookl is confirmed yet. So wookl has just confirmed into China there. danielek has instantly responded with India and clicked in ready before wookl. He's just shown to his opponent that I'm ready for this matchup. I'm happy with this. We're about to jump into game number 2 on Colorado. Oh yeah, I see what you mean by the score. Welcome back, guys. We're joining to game number 2 in the qualifier round of the advanced division of the ESOC or Winter tourney. It's currently 1-0 to wookl. wookl defeated danielek in a German mirror on Arkansas, and we're currently into game number 2 on Colorado, with wookl spawning on the left-hand side of the map in the colour red, playing as the Chinese civilization with a controversially only a 3 wood crate start. He's going to be moving forward to drop that early trading post down, as China players have been accustomed to get that early trading post, which can help their shipments progress in Age 2 and Age 3. And in the eastern map, we have the danielek playing as the Indian civilization in the colour blue. Both explorers are moving out onto the map, splitting direction, and is he going to come across this? It's only the mature bear crab. What else can he see up here? He's gone past 120 XP if he saw that. He may not have seen that in the line of sight. He's got Cougar kit. 90 wood at the top, but that's very close to the Chinese base, and the Chinese explorer is nearby, taking down a nuclear clubman who do have a multiplier versus the elephants of 2 times, because elephants are classed as cavalry units. However, they also do have a negative multiplier in Age 1 due to recent balance changes with the treasure guardians and native warriors. So he'll be doing 10 hand attack per each, and yeah, danielek's gone straight into this treasure, but he's very quickly taken the cougars down. That was splash damage to extreme, and 2 explorers on both of them, stuns the cougars, didn't take too much damage, and once he scouts the nuclear clubman and the explorer, he needs to get out of there. Go, run. Yeah, he's what? Hang on. So he's taking 15 damage per hit. So that's 10 times by 2, taking off 5 from the multiplier. I'm not too sure if that multiplier's hit correctly. I'm seeing 15 damage at a time. Oh, it's 10 there. Oh, it was the explorers, the monk hitting for 5 damage as well with the 7 times by 7.5, 0.75. That's all good. He's picking up the wookl's going for his own little army at the moment. He's going for the Cougar kit, which is fair enough, because when you do rescue other warriors, it makes taking treasures easier. So the actual perceived cost of taking a treasure is now reduced. So instead of wookl thinking, oh, 2 cougars, can I take them and explore it? It's, oh, I've got a quite strong army. I've got the nuker, I've got the explorer. This will be a easy pickup, and he's growing that army, and he's going to move on to the next treasure. One of the Indian monks falls down. I assume by the time H2 comes, he'll be near enough full health, as recovery speed of HP is pretty decent once they're down. But the fact is, he's only got 1 elephant, and a single elephant is not great at taking treasures on its own. They really need to kind of work as a team. 120 XP goes to wookl, and he's nearly on his way to having 2 shipments stacked up even before aging up to the second age. He's gone for the in-base village. He's gone for the village in front of his town centre. I'm not too sure there's enough space here to put the Summer Palace down. However, if there's any early aggression from the Indian player, a forward village could be picked off, and that would cause havoc on the Chinese player for shipments and training and population space, because they do take 20 population and are costly to reproduce. Summer Palace is being put down by the Chinese player. There's 4 settlers on it at the moment, as standard. The most efficient way to put up a Wander. Not the fastest, but certainly efficient. We got a forward aggro placement by a single villager. However, he's on his own. He's got no explorers to help him out, and could get picked off by the nuclear clubman and the kit and the explorer and the bear and possibly a trained disciple. And does he have a disciple nearby? He's got his disciple on his way. Set the waypoint over, and I think the Indian player he knows this villager is not destined for the new world, and she's remained committed to the cause until the very end. So even though the recent buffs changes to the ESOC patch has helped this villager, it hasn't in the end, unfortunately. 0.5 times. So maybe Danielek was thinking that all these nukers were doing chip damage for a quarter of their normal base damage, but it was changed to 0.5. So that's slightly slow on the age of the aggro, maybe by 5 seconds, 5-6 seconds. It's not substantial by any means, because the most important thing for the villager was actually to go forwards to actually build the aggro or place the foundations. Sun passes up, food's on the floor. A very defensive coin mine to his base. This is the China player will be very happy for this to ensure a smooth transition to age 3 if he is going for the age 3 play. He's currently got slightly more than 300 gold needed for the 700 coin shipment, which he may be saving some coin for an Asian Minutemen pop, whether that's the sentries or the riflemen or irregulars. So he's got 80 coin there. That's enough for one, and he's moving coin off now. So he's got enough coin for one batch of the Minutemen, and however the other batch, he's going to decide whether he wants the regulars or the sentries. I've just seen that ZD Flower has gifted a lot of tier 1 subs to a lot of players. Unfortunately, I haven't got the alert set up on the stream from my end yet. I got called in very late notice for this one. However, I've just seen a lot of subs there and a lot of happy people in the chat. So I did manage to catch on ZD. So thank you for that one. Your support to the cause and support to the community is always appreciated. And I hope you've been enjoying this stream. Chuka knows, sent as the second H2 card for wookl, he's identified there may be a bit of pressure coming in from the Indian player, but all his expos are in the same cluster group. The splash damage from the elephants is actually quite substantial. It's like although it's a small amount, over 8 crossbows, it could be like 30, 40 attack per swing. So quite a lot of these low hit points. He was hoping probably his own little mercenary army could have taken down the elephants before they got onto the expos, but he's only left with 5 expos remaining, and there's still 6 sepoys pushing in. I wonder if wookl has worked out whether Danielek shipped 5 sepoys or just trained 5 sepoys, but if that's the case, and he's only just trained them as the shipment suggests that he sent both the wood trickles, he's only lost 1 sepoy there. If I go to the units lost and just check that, yeah, he's lost 6. He trained 2 batches. Yeah, missed that. So, okay, if he's trained 6 batches, 6 units, and trained 2 batches of 5 sepoy, and he's already lost 6, then his secondary push is slightly weaker. He only picked off 3 expos. The age up is coming in with the skirms. The Chinese player is aware that the heavy infantry is passing into the base of the Chinese player. It's coming in. He needs to get settlers into the town centre to get the additional damage on. He's got his age 3 monk with all that extra HP in front of the army, soaking up the damage, protecting his Chukanu. However, the Indian player is unaware of what age up Wander the Chinese player has aged up with. He's aged up with his skirm Wander. So Danielek may be thinking, okay, he's aged up with the porcelain tower resources. It only starts paying off after maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes. I can just sit back a little bit and get my possible age up myself, or just wait for reinforcements and not have to go straight away. But I say that he's walked his skirmishers right over the resting elephants in front of the Chinese base. And Danielek, if he's having a quick look and seeing the red enemy blip over his explorers, he'd be fully aware that the skirmisher Wander was sent. And so with the skirmisher Wander, to make the best use of it, you want to push fairly soon, and he's pushing after his first Age 3 shipment of intervention. So he's got 8 musks, I think, or 9 musks. He's gone to the military units. He's got 9 musketeers with his 8 arquebusiers, 7 bows, and this ranged infantry mass is easily going to take on the 10 sepoys of the Indian player with some pikemen, disciples, and, well, the bear's just there for the show. He's just enjoying. He's just been taken by his owner. But this aggro fort is losing HP fast, but it does low attack. But yeah, he was waiting for a unit batch to come. Oh no, the 600 coin from the Fort Agar. This is not what you want. Oh no. Villagers got to be sent forward to pick that up. Is wookl sending villagers himself to pick that up? Both players are not necessarily reacting to it. They're focusing on the micro first. And if danielek cannot hold his position, Changdao's coming in behind, taking on the aggro fort down to 1.4k HP. The ranged infantry still overpowering the sepoys. I don't know if danielek is currently training units from the aggro. 2 sepoys in Cuba. 2 sepoys is not enough. And this coin is not gathered. Even the village which popped out of the aggro fort got picked off as well due to the Indian shipment bonus, and 600 coin stranded in the centre of the map. 3 vills coming from wookl to pick it up. The ranged infantry mass is still at the front. Premature Ottoman Minutemen pop just puts the front, or maybe they've been out for a while because you see the HP has dropped down to 1 HP, and currently he's used export onto the Minutemen, but he's sat at the back. His macro is 1,000 food to 600 coin. He's having to sell off some of the foods to get the coin. He's got 13 on either resource. He's desperately trying to gather it up, but wookl is just picking up 600 coin for free here. He may be able to. Oh, he's not going to. Yeah, he's still 120 coin. Forward village, get that forward spawn point, and with this amount of coin, he may even go for the mercenary shipment as well. Has he got the mercenary shipments? He has got the Manchu and Iron Ming available, and in this case, either or will be acceptable because he got decent anti-cav mass. So you could go for Iron Troop, but you could go for Manchu, go for a 3-unit combo or 3-unit style combo. So either or will be useful. There's a raid at the top left. 3 villagers coming down. I don't think at the moment taking 3 Chinese settlers will actually help with the situation too much. 11 Changdao, 10 arquebusiers being popped from the centre, so no mercenary shipment just yet, and wookl still floating 600 coins, so he's just tantalising, just wondering how he's going to spend his captured gold of his opponent, but maybe he might need to readjust some of that macro to get more. danielek, I do appreciate this play actually. Like he has conceded that he cannot take on his army, so he's trying to make the best of a bad situation. However, I think even if you take out, I don't know, another 10 settlers or 15 settlers, there's not much you can do to take on this army. 10 Tiger Claws with a mass of sepoy coming in to take on the Chinese army in the base. However, he's got a sizable amount of Indian units away from the base. He doesn't have his elephants. He's just sending heavy infantry into arquebusier mass. Chukunu, the Chinese explorers nearby as well. 600 HP if you want to use that, and that was a clean-up of the Indian units at this point, because he still has a couple of units around, but they got picked off by the consular musketeers and a summer palace pop. He's got quite a lot of sheep wookl can use to actually help fund his military production off of the 1 barracks. Still in the British consulate for the 5% HP buff, and wookl's just been tearing down buildings. He knows he has the advantage, but he's playing a bit too. He's playing cautious, understandably. He doesn't want to throw underneath the TC. However, he knows that he's had the advantage. He's starting to march in, and danielek knows that he had to abandon the age up play to get some units out to defend. However, he was caught in a rock and a hard place because he still had got a decent bank of resources, but when he knew that he couldn't get the coin to age up, he was like, this is tough. And as it showed, that advantage was too much for wookl to lose. danielek was too far behind. He tried his best to divert attention with raids, but when the army came knocking on the door, he just had no answer. So game over there. There's only one point really for this game, and that was possibly sending the 8 Chukunu as a second age 2 shipment, but he had the TP, he has an XP treasure over there, so he could afford to squeeze in a secondary shipment. He protected his singular village at the front at that point. He may have got the village up at the top in time, but if he lost that village, he may be in trouble. So the 8 Expos were needed to defend his population and his just how he can get his units out moving forward. He took on the Agra fort after 1 AoE3 shipment, and where that was the only military production of danielek, so he was picking off reinforcements as they were made. Coin was shipped forwards. We've all done that before, but once the Agra has gone down, coin picked up by wookl. I think that was the start of the downfall for the Indian player. It's 2-0 to wookl. I hope this wasn't another betting match and people betting on danielek. It seems like the bets at this point are not going as the bookie had imagined, or maybe this is the bookie's night as a result. Looking at the military unit population, and it's not even close. So you see that China mass was starting to swell and grow, and it was never really challenged by the Indian player at one point or creative unit. The Indian player tried his best to defend his middle Agra fort, but once that was gone, he didn't have the military production or the available shipments from the Third Age to help bolster his army, and yeah, he couldn't do anything from there. GG, I'm going to back out into the lobby for that one. Looks like game number 3 will be played on Hudson Bay. I just saw the chat Gibson saying bad game, but I realised he was referring to his the comment of the League of Legends. I missed the point when they saw that. I think the big moment there was the coin. I think I saw the chat explode a little bit when the coin came in, but wookl's 2-0 up. This is match point for wookl because this is a best of 5. I don't know if it's alternating pick or winner picks. Oh, pick. I'll be back in a sec. Right, I'm back, guys. We're about to hop into game 3. Well, since I started casting, I think I might have already consumed about 2.5 pints of water, so I need to take a quick break there. we're back in. So we've got observer mode, free for all, locked teams, recorded game. Who picked? Just checking who's picked first. Cool. Okay, cool. Right. Ready to go.
Are you ready? Yes. Yes.
Just got a last bit of Coke. Well, as in Diet Pepsi, not other things. Right, I haven't got the overlay. Welcome back, guys. This is game number 3 in the advanced rounds qualifiers between wookl and danielek. wookl currently 2-0 up versus danielek, and believe it or not, this guy has been playing. It's currently like 4 AM. So this guy has been putting on a fantastic performance so far to be 2-0 up, and well, been playing so well at such a awkward time to be playing games. His commitment is appreciated, and his skill level has been really interesting to watch. This is a Japanese versus Russian game, with wookl playing as the Japanese civilization in the left-hand side of the map in the colour red, with danielek on the right-hand side playing as the Russians in the blue colour. It was a 200 wood start, or extra wood crate start, I believe. I don't see any coin. Russia's got 2 wood crates. danielek has picked up 40 wood there, so he's dropped a house. He's got 140 wood left over. We'll find out if he's going to invest into an early trading post with that as well, or he's going to save that for a cheaper outpost as he goes into age 2. And what's wookl doing? He's scouting around with his starting orchard rickshaw, and his first rickshaw is already placed down behind his town centre quite safely, and all the villagers are gathering onto that. wookl again has got a Native American warrior, and in the last game himself, he did get a Nootka clubman as well, which proved very pivotal in this matchup. It could also prove to be very pivotal as well, considering that the Russian player may want to consider dropping a forward blockhouse into the middle of the map to gain map control, to get control of the TP line. So you have to put on some early pressure into the Japan player. However, this Japanese player would be very happy to know that he's picked up a Nootka clubman who's, even though is not fantastic against settlers or explorers at the moment, still decent versus buildings. It has been slightly nerfed, but if it's on a building under construction, you're still guaranteed to do a lot of damage. The Japanese player has come across 100 wood at the bottom of the map, and he's moving. He's only got his 1 scout nearby, so he's going to carry on scouting around to see what else he can see while he's waiting for his reinforcing monk to push forward. But he's seen in a small area 100 wood and 95 wood available for the Japanese player, who has 2 stuns with his explorers. See, both are going to be stunned if he has both available. Come on, stun it, yes. So the stuns there, both available. Both polar bears are not able to attack at the moment, and the Nootka clubman is able to help and assist with explorers to take out a decent amount of HP on the polar bear, or at least take this one down before the other polar bear is back into action in a fight. But this one's 100 wood and 95 woods here, which I have to assume the Russian player has not scouted yet, because he is still up here taking on 90 food, which has come just in time to help assist that age up. And yes, he's just clicked up, so that saves the Russian player 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds of age up time, and he's now transitioned most of his villagers onto wood. And bearing in mind he had the wood treasure earlier, he's already dropped down an early market, but he hasn't got much wood to chop to get this forward blockhouse. Blockhouse is moving forward, and wookl's undecided. Is he go for the 95 wood? He's waiting for his charge to be reused, so he won't be in time to. Oh, that's a very forward blockhouse. He won't be there to contest it or siege it down. But picking up 200 wood worth of treasures with explorers out on the map, he can start his shrine boom a little bit. Maybe not a shrine boom, but he can reinvest that wood as he sees fit early on if needs be. Both players going up. The Japanese player is aging up with the Tsushima Shrine, placed on his forward hunt. This building has a high HP, however it's slightly far from the TC. You might risk having musketeers on this northeasterly corner of the Tsushima Shrine sieging down the Wonder, however not being under any TC fire. That means wookl, if he wants to defend it, he will have to put units out into the field. He's come across this blockhouse now, he's taken damage, but he sees where the Russia's blockhouse is. He may anticipate a aggressive playstyle from the Russia player due to how forward that blockhouse is. We'll have to find out on his first colonial age shipment. 3 boats was used as the first Age 1 shipment for wookl, and that's standard play for Japan when you have access to water and home city shipment. Danielek has used his Senate's card. He's on 27 population at the moment, and it seems like he's got 14, 3 villas queued, 5 musks queued, and 5 Cossacks shipped on the way. And that's a large investment already to start off with. So once he's set his, he's already got the rally point set into the middle of the base, and if he remembers to set his home city point to the forward base, pardon the pun, not the back of the base, and hopefully not to lose his forward base with 700 coin this time, he can put on some early pressure on. 5 musketeers on the field, followed by 5 Cossacks marching forwards towards Japanese base. The Japan player has forward coin mine exposed. 4 clubs spawn out the front side of the consulates. 5 ashes at the back retreating. Clubs on the Cossacks getting a decent trade. You don't lose these Cossacks early on without getting much for it. And if you can trade off the Cossacks for the clubs, I think the Japanese player would take that trade. Club snaring Ashigaru, can't get away. Musketeers shortly in, hotly chasing them, taking down 1 musketeer at a time, and these military units haven't accomplished much for the Russian player. No idol. He has forced out a 5 Ashy shipments and clubs from the consulate instead of a Portuguese consulate alliance, and saving up for bestiaries. So overall, I guess you could argue that the trades there were honours even. Looking at Danielek's decks, he has a quite standard deck for this map. He only has 2 crate resources, 700 wood, 700 coin, but omitting either the 700 food or 600 wood. But he does have the 3 military shipments, upgrade card, both the fencing school training time reduction, as well as sea capability to fight any water play. These 4 cards here, these are, you don't often see all these 4 together, and that is a large investment in terms of upgrades and water play if the game goes into late colonial. However, I feel that his next shipment's either going to be 700 wood or maybe, yeah, he's gone for 700 wood there. 3 Naggies on the field. Trained must have built a stable backup base. Ashi's moving forward as well, and gone for the Ashi Naggi combination. Continuously marching forward, and he's just taking Cossack, 1 Cossack at a time. Now that the Cossacks are out of the way, the Naginators may want to come back into the field. Yeah, 3 more have come in. He's got a 4th one sieging. These are very strong against infantry style units with their lance style weapon, the Naginata themselves, and he's taking some decent damage against the musketeers, and they're falling down pretty quickly. Currently there's only 1 unit population for the Russian player, and that is a rogue Cossack losing a fight to the Naginata riders at the top there. 3 settlers are trapped in, or 2 settlers are trapped in this forward outpost. However, with both the dual outposts here of the Russian player, the Japanese player has wisely decided to back off and not throw away too many units and HP, trying to siege down a blockhouse, risking a military pop right on top of the army. See, if there was a continuous fire of the outposts, as well as 10 strelets being popped onto the Japanese army, they are predominantly Ashigaru musketeers, that would have been a very good pickup for the Russian player. However, the Japanese player is easy in the base of Naginatas. You've got 9 in the TC, they do decent fire into Naginata, but the strats are just scratching it, the cavalry. He's just taken off. This is the 13 shipment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's easily taken 4 there. 5, 1, 2. He only lost 3. Only lost 3 strats at that point, so wasn't too bad. Looking at the units lost, we've seen 15 musketeers lost for Danielek. These musketeers haven't done too much. However, the strats out so far have accomplished a little bit, but we've only seen 2 musketeers, 2 Naginatas, and the starting clubs for wookl, and being able to safely squeeze in a 4 settler shipment now, I think this game is going to drift into the colonial age a little bit longer, and it's still feels even, because as long as the Russian player can force and try and contain the Japanese player into age 2 play, the Russian player will eventually start to grow into this match and will they're competitive now, slightly behind in the economic population. However, soon their effective military population, because Strats do count as one, but they're not individually, they're not that great, but soon their entire military strength will be stronger than the Japanese. If the Japanese player does not decide to intervene now, he has two choices: either he pushes out as a push with his units, or he ages up to age 3 and get the tech advantage. However, looking at his bank down here and looking at his push of a decent size of musketeers, if I go into military units here, we see we have 17 Ashigaro musketeers with 6 Naginatas poking onto the blockhouses, which has forced the return of the Russian infantry back to defend its buildings. But wookl has managed to get in a second 4 villager shipments, further increasing his economic advantage for the time being. Decent upgrades: the second food upgrade, the tier 1 all natural resources upgrade, coin mining upgrade, and he's now adding an extra shrine in base to get to the sheep onto the shrine as well, and to harvest at a faster rate with the sheep on top of them. The Japanese army at the moment is just postulating. He's just sent a shipment now, and looking at the population, 40 with 86, maybe a few in queue, he maybe at this point sends an upgrade card. And so if he sends an upgrade card, he might want to consider pushing out at this point and maybe wait for it to come back in. Otherwise, if it's something like a daimyo or a 5 Ashigara shipment again, he's already sent that twice, he's okay to push it out. But I feel that it's the mixture of the musketeers and the strelets is forcing the Ashigara player the Japanese player to retreat with his Ashigaras. He had the Naginatas on the Cossacks, which is not a great trade. And Danielek with his large, massive units, especially funded off the 700 coin and the 4 Cossack unit shipments, is pushing in with the military advantage definitely this time. Bit of pathing back to the base enabled the Strelets to get some decent shots off, picking another 2 off there. Already got 14 villagers into the town centre, with more exposed villagers maybe having to pop into the town centre. The Russian player is now he's staying just outside of the Japanese player TC. He's still aware that the Japanese player can call both sets of Minutemen, may pop some units. What has he got in queue? He's got 3 Yumi archers in queue. Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs to transition to a mixture of a 3 composition of Ashi, Nagi, and Yumi, or maybe go for Yumi Ashi, because at the moment the 3 unit composition of the Russian player is currently beating the Japanese player, and the Japanese player has to return back to his base, which is it's okay. That's where his economy is, but he would not like to give full TP control to the Russian player, who currently controls the map, has 2 blockhouses central in the map as well, and as we've seen from his deck, has a decent range of upgrade cards, he has boyers as well as fencing school. And once the fencing school comes in, it's not necessarily that the units train faster, it's the fact that he can get returns of resources he's invested faster. So if a unit trains faster, it's on the field quicker than having multiple production buildings, so he can quickly grow that mass as his economy grows in line with it, and be able to put the pressure on faster than the Japanese player can reinforce. Naginatas onto the Cossacks. Cossacks blocking off the Naginatas onto the straight line. Musketeers moved in to reinforce. Cossacks moving on the top line to get onto a few Naginatas as well. A few Yumi archers. However, the Japanese cav and a few Japanese musketeers are going to melee to zone them off. However, the large infantry mass of the Russian player to the south of the base, or to the east of the base, should I say, with musketeers out front, straight to the back, because we've got the longer range units at the back of the group. We've got musketeers at the front taking the damage. I don't know his OP micro skills or just how the game's lucked out for him, but we've got Strelets doing lots of damage from range, musketeers up and close doing a higher amount of damage due to the higher base attack. We're currently in the Japanese base right now. He's called Minutemen. He's only got 2 Naginatas, 1 Ashigaru musketeer in queue. His village is under pressure. He's got quite a few in the town centre, and he has to resign. GG, wookl losing that match. Danielek taking his first game of the series, and that means we won't have a whitewash here. So anybody who's been betting 3-0 to either players is losing out on their bets at the moment. I think that's just the power of the counter pick system. wookl won the last game, and so had to open, decide which civ he would like to play in this map, and he picked the Japanese civilization, where Danielek was straight into Russia. A matchup Danielek must felt comfortable with. He's got decent upgrades coming in. He's got eco theory. He's had decent market upgrade. Oh, he's got no market upgrades. He had a market, but he has no market upgrades. Maybe the UI doesn't work properly once it's up, so I can't tell. But once he was sensible that he had 2 blockhouses and kind of waited. Once he had the initial kind of skirmish with his 5 musketeers, 5 Cossacks to try and see what he could do, he backed out, sent a few shipments, and once he got to a point where he felt comfortable massing underneath his 2 defensive structures, grouped his units together and marched onto the Japanese base, who, although strong individual units, just may have a bit of overkill and just couldn't deal with the sheer number of the Russian units. And once Russia was underneath the town centre, putting pressure on the settlers, wookl had to call it there. It may have been a case that wookl's later shipments, the 4 villager shipments, were great for his economy, but didn't have enough time to pay off. And it appears that there's quite a bit of TC idle time towards the end of the game when he had to focus on military production, which kind of negated his 4 villager shipments. If he managed to squeeze one of those in early, he could have had a slightly larger mass later on if he was able to defend from the initial skirmish, which I guess the earlier musketeer shipments of wookl did catch the Russian player a bit surprised and got quite a few decent free kills early on. Russian player went from 10 mil population to 4, as the clubs and Ashigaras did some work. But yeah, once the military population got to a critical mass of a mixture of musketeers and strelets, not just one or the other, but a mixture of both units, and a really good position of musketeers in front of the strelets, the army advanced into the Japanese town, and the Japanese units just fell underneath it. Right, GG. Ooh. I'll have to check. Maybe I should probably check the actual, because I only played a best of 3 for the beginner division, so I picked my civilization for game number 2, but I don't know how it alternates afterwards. So we'll check out the rules. Where's the rules? Information discussion. Rules. Civ. Once you win a civilization, we may not use it again for the rest of the series. Losing the game does not disable player civilization. This means that there's. I'll just copy this in. For each subsequent game, the winner of the previous game selects the civilization first. I just want to send that again as. Yep. Oh yeah, yeah, I'll just copy this statement again because that got cut off. Right, so Danielek won the last game. He picked up his first game in this match between wookl and Danielek, and Danielek decided to go with the French civilization and locked in onto ESOC Manchac Now, French is a civilization. It's a decent majority of matchups, but doesn't really favour one in particular. However, out of all the possible matchups there could be, I think the Dutch is a fairly average counter pick. I think they're both strong in their own respects. I think Dutch may be slightly stronger in late Fortress Age, but we'll have to find out. I think this game is definitely going to be decided on the player's skill level, regardless of the Civ matchup, which the last match or last game may have featured more heavily in. Right, both players are locked in and ready to go. We're going to jump into game number 4 of the best of 5. wookl is currently 2-1 up, leading over danielek. So wookl is still on match point, so the pressure is on danielek to get his second win under his belt before going to a final game. However, this could be the decider for wookl to advance on to the next round. Welcome back, guys. This is game number 4 in the best of 5 series between wookl and danielek. This is the qualifier round of the advanced division of the ESOC Winter 2020. We're currently in game number 4 with wookl 2 to danielek 1, and we've started onto Manchak. It looks like it's just a 2 wood crate start. So it's a wood start, as it appears to just be a wood start. I think I may be wrong. Maybe wood and food. However, the French player is going straight to his own defensive trading post to secure that. He's decided to go for his own defensive one instead of maybe posturing out into the middle of the map, grabbing the middle trading post and investing into a second one later in the game. He's also picked up 35 wood, so he must have crack-shotted the treasure while he was in base, and then walked with the explorer down to the south. Oh, I hope the players didn't see that. That was a misclip. wookl has also gone for a trading post in base, and he's also picked up the first pass of the game. Maybe wookl knows that the trading post starts in the bottom left and goes to the top right, but that was giving him enough experience to get in a early shipment. But he's currently 10 out of 10. But he's only got 8 settlers. If he miscues one, he could get that shipment in straight away. Only minor thing, he's playing it safe. He's probably picking his deck right now and hoping to click on that 3 settler card, and see his population has gone up to 14 there. danielek just picked up 60 wood. That's not danielek, that's wookl. He's picking himself up a native treasure. He's gone for a native scout, so both the civilizations have a native scout each. However, the Dutch have their own envoy. wookl is, well, danielek is now moving from the south of the map up to the top left. He's identified that up here there will be multiple treasures which are up for picking. He's up there with his scouts already, scouting out the possible treasures up there, and he may be slightly disappointed what he sees. He does have 80 food. That's probably the best treasure out of the bunch of 3. We do have the 1 tomahawk for the pirate and the pistolero, so you would have to crackshot the pirate, hand combat the pistolero, and that is also manageable to be taken. A single dog from the 2 alligators. So he's gone straight for the 80 food first instead of the other 2. danielek taunting his opponent there, asking him to come and fight. He's aware. He knows that the Dutch envoy has seen where the French explorer is. Oh! It's a punch up in the Southern Americas. We've got 1 native scout fighting with another native scout, and it's because the explorer has come in to take pot shots while they're fighting. You need to leave them to fight man to man, hand to hand combat. It'd be interesting to see, but no. Guns to the party, just ruin the show. wookl currently aging up to the second age. He's got a decent split of 5 villages on food, 10 onto wood. I don't believe he has any extra wood treasure or extra treasures to help fund his early bank production. So wookl has got himself a native scout. Well, that's about it really. 35 food and 30 coin early on, but no significant food or wood treasures to help get that first bank out. And the sooner you have that first bank, the sooner you can transition vills onto the coin to get your first settler in production. And to the set you've done that, the sooner you can transition all vills onto food to get the food in while you ship the wood to get the banks going. So This is why early treasures as Dutch are very, very important. Maybe less important for French, but very important for the Dutch player who's got himself a dog. So Daniel's gone for the resources, where wookl has gone for the dog, the Iroquois tomahawk, the native scout. Just like a few of his previous games, he loves his little Star Wars cafe army, if you want to call it. Danielek is in the centre of the map, posturing over another 80 food treasures. He's had 280 foods. With all this food, he could easily get out a batch of 5 hussars if he does decide to go for an early stable at the start of Age 2. Once Danielek ages up, there'll be 400 food on the floor for him to pick up, and it'll be interesting to see how he invests that. He's got 125 ready to go for the steel traps, so likely to see a production building as well as 2 houses to start giving population space for units to be created. I don't see any forward villas at the moment, so we're not expecting a Samwise or a Expo bike. Something more standard, and yes, we have a stable to the right hand side of the base, scouted by the envoy. The envoy always runs around the enemy base because it's got such a high hit point. Some range resist, but if you were to put units into the town centre to take out the envoy, well, the envoy's already seen what you're doing, and then you're just spending all that time, wasted vill seconds, actually taking out the envoy. So most players decide not to do that. Bank Wagon for wookl comes out as first card, so not going for the greedier 700 wood build, but actually going Bank Wagon off the Age Up wood and Bank Wagon. This may be a super greedy build if you go 700 wood next to drop down another bank as well, but the 700 wood usually comes in here to fund the third bank production, as well as get a market, a unit production building, a house, and then from there you can buy an extra bit of wood from all this coin you're gathering up from the banks already. Looking at wookl's deck right now, he's got the 700 wood now, and it might be a conscious decision because he had the early trading post in Age 1, giving him extra experience points being shipped in so that he could really accelerate his shipment curve. He may have decided that he wanted to get the bank wagon in before the 700 wood and proceed from the 700 wood as you normally would in a standard way. 700 wood's in, stables coming down at the back, but 5 hussars are already making their way across the field. This is the power of all that food Danielek picked up on the early Age 1. He's got 5 hussars into the base, and at the moment there's quite a few vills really far away from the town centre building stuff. The bank's going to take a wild build up, got a market ville upside, and Danielek is just fighting the explorer and has had to run away from the Minutemen. There's a decent minimum pop there. 8 pikes as well. Oh, possibly wookl could have done better to bait the cavalry in to get a more favourable outcome with the shipping of the 8 pikes. However, shipping 8 pikes is just deflecting all this cav pressure. Danielek's committed to a second match of hussars before the pikes came out, and he's seen the pikes now, so he's probably a bit of and ahhing. What do you do at this point? You know that your enemy's just shipped your counter unit where you spent 2,000 resources in, so 1,200 food and 800 coin is essentially not doing much at this point. So units lost. wookl has been a bit of idle time, but he's only lost a dog. And that's not a great return if you already invested 2,000 resources. Hussar from the top left. wookl villagers out of position. Can't get pulled in. One villager likely go down in this situation. Yep, one good down. However, Pike's in position to deflect the pressure on the raid on the top left. And so, okay, wookl has now lost 1 settler, but he's in a very happy position with 4 banks. He's gone for 5 hussars himself. If he catches this is huge. He's already lost a bit of HP going on forward, but you got 5v4, and you don't have to be a master of micro to win a 5v4 battle. Got 2 zoning on to this one. 1v1 taken down there. 3 onto 1. So yeah, it's just all this pressure onto a single hussar time, and he wins that 4-1. That is why having full 5 hussar batches are very important in this game in case you get caught by another 5 hussar batch. Because as we've seen, a 4 batch like this will lose a 5 batch fight very convincingly. wookl's forward native scouts in his hidden mode have seen that there's a hunter villager out quite far from his TC. And he's thinking about it. He knows he's got the cav advantage. He knows there's a villager at risk. However, if TC fire gets involved as well, he may lose that fight. But he's just quite happy to sit back with his 4 cavalry and decide what's going on. Wookl's still in the second age. Tech's being researched. He's only got the hunting dogs going on, but he's got an awkward amount of 400 food to 800 coin. Hopefully, if he's sending the crate shipments to age up with, he's sending the 700 food. However, yeah, he has sent the 700 food, but by the time it's come in, he's already got 700. So 500 would be useful, but no one's gathering in it. You need. Yeah, he's got 3 gathering up, but it may be actually only 300 to 400 of this actual batch of food here is going to be used into the age up. Is it a click up? Come on, Wookl, click up. You can do it. You know you want to. Yeah, if I clicked up. He may be able to invest some of his extra wood into Hussar production to give him a bit of cover as he transitions from Age 2 to Age 3. Let's see in the military units what's going on. We've got 5 Dragoons out for Hussars, 10 skirmishers as well. Has he got 2 Raxes? He's got a single Rax, so he produced 2 batches of 5. Shipment sent 8 skirm first shipments. So he's trained 2. He's trained a batch of 5. Yeah, so he's trained 5 Dragoons, trained 2 skirmishers, kept his cav mass, and sent 8 skirmishers as well. So he's got a well-rounded composition, but he's up in age. He's already sent his first military shipment. He knows he's got the advantage. We got pikemen, weak to skirmishers. We got 1 HP Minutemen, weak to the range of the skirmishers. Cavalry out to the sides, not wanting to get caught by the Dragoons. There's 10 Dragoons here. Pressure's coming on the right-hand side. He couldn't build a building there because he was on top of his own settlers. There's quite a lot of settlers out of position. This is going to be a really decisive fight for both of them. He's using the villagers to bait in the cav to stay so that the pikemen can get a decent engagement, but he's pulled out his Dragoons specifically to not get meleeed down by the pikemen. Dragoons wrap themselves on the southern side to zone off the Hussars. The skirmishers are focused on the pikemen. The Minutemen are still doing too much damage for my liking if they've only got 1 HP. It's hard to focus. It's hard to decide which unit is more important, but you've certainly got a decent usage out of the Minutemen. Hussars and Dragoons onto the cavalry of Wookl, but danielek does need to micro his Dragoons to specifically zone off each Hussar and ignore the settlers for the time being. That's the job of the skirmishers. The skirmishers can do the settlers. Yeah, he's micro onto the settlers and avoided the explorer because he just started taking up HP, but it doesn't really do much in combat. Settlers punching down Hussars and committing to settlers fighting an early Age 3 fight like this with even more settlers out of the base. This is not looking fantastic for Wookl. He sent in 8 skirmisher shipments to stabilise. However, danielek has also sent 7 skirmishers of his own, so he still has this skirmisher advantage. 19 to 12. Some moving across the field, not in the fight just yet, but he's got enough skirmishers here to trade even with the skirmishers in the base, but Dragoons as well, just to stand on the background and take shots where possible. 35 military to 9. Double economic, well, of normal villagers. But recalculated population is slightly more equal, but when you're this far down in actual military units, it's very hard to come back. He needs probably to send 9 Rita or 4 Hussars, but 4 Hussars is not that fantastic of a unit value sent. 9 Reuters would do well versus the Dragoons, but will get picked off by the skirmishers. It's very hard to decide which shipment you want to send as Wookl. What else does he have as options? Is he only mercenaries? He's got Swiss pikes. That may not be enough. So a shipment is on the way. I know it's on the way. He's got his trading post. There's a 0 there. Something is coming. We need to find out what it is. Then again, it could be the Swiss pikes actually, because it is taking a while, and he's got all the banks. He could say, it's 9 Raiders. He needs to keep kiting with the Raiders that he can't. He's happy that he's like, oh, I'm shooting at the Curious Air, but the Dragoons are wrapping around, the skirmishers taking shots, and he just needs to kind of take a shot, move back, take a shot, move back. More reinforcement Dragoons coming in. Another reinforcement of 5 skirmishers with 2 Falconets incoming from the French player. This is weird. It feels I got confused and I thought the French player was here running away from the Dutch base, but actually no. This is the aggressive force in the actual Dutch's base up front. He's got 2 Falconets incoming. He's moved his Dragoon division back to escort the Falconets back to the front. Now, if danielek wanted to be an absolute boss, he could trick these Falconets across the field to get them into combat that little bit faster, considering that he's not using his Dragoons in combat just yet because he wants them moving his entire units together. emergency second barracks being being built at the back, possibly because he's aware that this barracks may go down. He still has a stable. He's sent himself. He's still only on the 2 Fortress Age shipments of 8 Skirm, 9 Reuter. He's got a one card in Q2 be sent at this point. What it would be, likely 7 Reuter. He doesn't have the time really to send Swiss Pikes. It's going to take a while. Bit of a raid on the left hand side. We've got some very adventurous CDBs going for a long walk to their hunt at the top of the map. They may have, I suppose there is no hunt actually here. That's the closest from them on this top side, while splitting some villages off the top here. But he's okay. I think danielek is happy to see what kind of military wookl is utilising. He's only got 3 Reuters, a handful of skirms, but nothing really to stop any cuirassier switch. He's got 16 goons currently and 2 falconets, but even the goons on their own can take out this small army. You wouldn't want to run away from. Your own falconets with your own anti-cav. But you need to do something. Reuters is coming in. He's looking to pick up this 1 falconet who's been knocked down due to the TC and the Reuter. 1 goes down. He's managed to withdraw 5 Reuters from the fight taken out. That's a decent trade from wookl. He's still not out of this. He's calculating what is his priorities, and his priority then was to take out that second falconet. Because quite often, 1 falconet does a lot of splash damage and takes a lot of units down to low HP. The other one usually just takes the kills and cleans up the army. However, trading 4 Reuters for 3 there, where your army was not necessarily under direct pressure, they went to an early death, didn't pick up the falconet. I guess he had to go all in and try and hope that danielek was off his guard and not prepared for that one there. However, danielek advances his army to the top, zones off the villagers, traps the army, and the GG is called by wookl there. It's 2-all. We're going to go into the deciding game here. I think he is, yeah. We'll have to go into the deciding game of game number 5 between these 2 players to find out who would be advancing into the next round. With danielek winning that game, he has to pick first before wookl can counterpick. Right, looking at the population, the villager count is not to say too much because of the banks. Can't really see what banks number being produced, but you know, but at this point here, probably about 4 banks. So another 16 villas at this point, or 15. However, you got the CDB advantage, so it's quite hard to see from here. But this earlier fight went from 24 villagers down to 13, and he lost. He trained 1 there, so down to effectively 12 if he didn't train. So he lost 12 settlers there, lost a 13th, lost a 14th. He lost many settlers trying to defend his base. However, it was essentially, I think, he committed a little too long in Age 2, but he was unable to send the correct unit crate at the right time to really speed up his age up. He had about 700 food in his bank and mined all the coin himself with the bank's help, but once that 700 food came in, he kind of didn't really need the food too much. He could have bought maybe 100, 200 and gamble for another 5 seconds and then have another Fortress Age shipment to help defend. So I think a delayed age up here may have hurt wookl defending in the 3rd age. Military unit population, there's just this idle when he's focused on getting that age up, and once he had that age Q, not necessarily much of a training some hussars to stabilise or training some skirmishers from his age 2 barracks, which he could have done to help. I guess there's a batch of 2 to 8, 1. Yeah, that was his 8 skirmisher shipments, I think. So that was his first age A3 shipment coming in there, and not much else being trained. So he was behind in military population for the majority of it. Lost a lot of settlers around this point, defending his best from danielek's superior military. But I think at that point he knew he needed to try and get some sort of miracle capture of the falconets, but it was a struggle there. Right, GG. Get into the final game, number 5. I am absolutely starving. I've been doing it since like 5 o'clock, just setting this up, and I thought, oh, yeah, I'll do 1 series. That'll be fine. Oh, can you do a 2nd series? Oh yeah, I'm up for it. Hopefully, be a 3-0, and then we're going to game number 5, and it's 8:30 local time in England, and I'm absolutely starved now. I have absolutely no food. Mum's probably thinking, where on earth is he? He usually comes down for his food by now. Oh, right. Danielek's commented 2-2. Let's go for the Germans, and the map they're playing on is Mendocino. A 4 TP route in the centre of the map going horizontal. If wookl has a civ like Spain or Portugal or other civs where he can, even civs like Russia, where he can kind of move to the centre of the map and try and gain some map advantage by holding the centre of the map, he could possibly pick up the trading post line and get a TP line. However, I suppose that may not be the case in this matchup, because if Germany does manage to put off a decent semi-FF, he'll have a very large power spike early on in the game, around about 9-10 minutes for him to take on the TP lines. We'll have to see what wookl's civ is going to pick, and basically determines what kind of game we're going to see here. wookl has selected the Ottoman civilization, and it looks like the final game is going to be a German versus Ottoman. Before we spawn in, just want to check one thing. Looks like we're all good.
Yes.
I'm going to click into Mendocino now. Final game of the best of 5. Good luck to both players. They've both had some great games. Let's end on a high. Welcome back, guys. This is game number 5, the deciding game of a best of 5 between wookl and danielek for the qualifying round of the advanced division of the ESOC Winter 2020 tournament. We currently have a German versus Ottoman final game, where danielek picked German civilization first and was very promptly counterpicked by wookl. wookl was playing as the Ottoman civilization in the top left of the map, while danielek is playing as the Germans in the bottom right. It was a coin start for both players, and so danielek is having to throw down an in-base market to make use of his coin, where he's got his other settler wagons on wood after having already taken out a deer with his settler wagons before moving on to wood. The Ottoman explorer is moving out into the map, picking up a squash plant worth of 75 food. However, he's done that before he's actually put down his trading post. I would have liked if he maybe put one crack shot and then walked down and started construction of it. It may be, even though he'd leave that that treasure with one explorer remaining, that TP could have gone a bit faster, and he may be able to catch this next pass regardless of it. We'll have to find out, because if he loses his pass as a result of that, that'd be a bit of a shame. But no, he's just about to catch it. The TP is up, the XP is in, and that first shipment is that little bit close to be shipped for wookl. I guess it's less significant about decision of whether you're going to go for the early treasure there or the TP, because it's such a short trading route. The experience trickle it's less per pass. However, because it's more consistent, it actually may be more desirable in the long term, because it's you don't get much of a overhang between shipments. wookl is looking into a 90 food wolf treasure. Didn't he already pick up a 90 food? I picked up 75. If the Ottoman player gets both 75 food and the 90 food treasure available on this map, then he's going to have a very fast age up to age 2, and who knows, we may be seeing some sort of early Janissary pressure into the German base. Germany picked up a Cherokee rifleman, which may put some forward pressure onto any forward settlers moving across the map in the early second age if they wanted to do a forward base. But the Ottoman player has clicked up already at 2 minutes and 10 seconds before his age 1 shipment of 3 settlers is coming. He's now harvesting his coin. He didn't need at any point in his age 1, so he decided to leave it until he's aging up. And he's currently chopping some wood for an extra trading post. It looks like he's moving to the far right of the corner. Maybe because he knows that danielek has the explorer and the Cherokee rifleman. He may have moved to Danielek's preferred trading post to construct, but if Danielek was on the hunt to try and take out the Explorer, this is probably the last trading post socket that Danielek would check. 200 wood's been gathered, trading post is down, and Ottoman Explorer is busy constructing another trading post on this middle trading post route. This is some very nice herding from Danielek. He's got quite a lot of deers underneath his 1TC. However, if, and that is a big if the Ottoman player does go for an aggressive build, I would like to see him trying to get some sort of early herding onto this second hunt, which he is doing that. He's moving a settler forwards to try and herd this second hunt near his base at least, so that he has some sort of control over it. Otherwise, he may have 5-10 Abus guns on the background, disrupting the villagers gathering on this food hunt. 2 settlers are moving forward into the centre of the map for the Ottoman player. He's aged up with the 400 wood politician, the quartermaster, and that would allow him to drop a barracks stable, possibly barracks artillery foundry, barracks 2 houses. We'll find out what he's going to put down. He's going for the full trading post. Oh, this is so smart. This is. He's used his woods to deny the German trading post in the German side. Now the German player's thinking, that's okay. I've seen already got 2. You're paying us third. I'll get the 4th. But he's going to come down to see two settlers building it. He's going to go, what? Settlers building trading posts? But it take ages. But it doesn't matter. Even though it's not built, the German player can't build on top of it. He can't really siege it down. He can't deny it. And the settlers have got enough HP on this trading post that they're happy to walk off, do some mining, do some hunting, builds their next buildings after 700 woods coming. 700 wood. We've already 5 in the 100 in the bank. We'll be seeing stagecoach coming very quickly with further production buildings be built in the centre of the map. Danielek's aged up with the quartermaster at 4 minutes 30, standard time for the German player. However, it's just no match for the fast age of the Ottoman, especially when the Ottoman player had 75 and 90 food at the same time. In base barracks again for the 4th time we've seen Germany so far tonight between the 2 series I've casted. It'd be interesting to see if he's going to open up with crossbowmen or pikes to try and contest the TP line, but pikemen is not a great idea versus, well, Janissaries or Abus guns, but it looks like the Ottoman player is going for the Jan-Huss combination, Janissaries with Hussars, and possibly once you send a couple more crates, but also then mass on the, this is what I fear. The stagecoach may come in, maybe set to woods to fund production of houses and save up for the artillery foundry. However, the 700 coin will fund Hussars being produced and Janissaries where most of the villagers gather food, and then maybe send in a 3 Hussar card afterwards to get that critical mass before pushing in. Right, we've got an early engagement. 8 Expos shipped as the first units shipment for Danielek. He knows that he can't sit in base with a full TP stagecoach. He has to push out first. He's pinned down the Janissaries with the Uhlans, so he's been able to make good use of his ranged infantry, especially with the Cherokee Riflemen as well, on top of it as an extra damage onto the Janissaries. And all the units that come down, he needs to make sure that his first batch of Hussars is a good batch. Units in queue, he's got 5 Hussar batch, 5 has been popped out. And that's enough to dissuade all this. The Hussars gone down after 2 swings each. The Hussars down, pure skirmishers running away from the Hussars. 5 pikes join the field. He has to return back at this point. wookl is desperate and he needs to kind of preserve any units he does train while he reinforces with Hussars, and maybe even has to call Minutemen for his own town centre for extra damage output versus the pikes. It looks like he's surrendering his own forward barracks for trading the barracks for an artillery foundry and possibly transition into a Hussar Abus gun. It's fair enough. If you have the Abus gun to pick off the pikemen, then Hussars can just easily take onto the crossbow and push away the Ulan. But move on to late colonial age, I would expect wookl to rebuild his barracks as well, so he has that 3-unit composition, and then he doesn't get completely rolled over by German Ulans. Picking off 2 Ulans coming out from a shipment, 3 settler wagon shipment, but they've been picked up very quickly by the 5 Ulans settlers. And yeah, 2 Ulan down for no loss for the Hussars, a good raid, and a villager for that extra insult to injury. Sees more parts being produced and gets out of there wise ahead. The infantry mass of the German player has taken down both the barracks and the stable. However, the economic production buildings of the trading posts are still up and intact, and being able to use those resources to fund Abus gun production from his artillery foundry. He's only got one building so far. He hasn't even got a market yet, so possibly he needs 600 wood come in, or toggle his trading post to wood to be able to get some extra buildings, because one artillery foundry will not be enough to take on this army in the short term, implying, no, okay, it is. However, if a stable is dropped and cavalry is produced, then we may be in tricky times. Having said that, though, danielek shipping 8 crossbow, 3 settler wagon, hasn't shipped a crate settlement yet, so he's struggling to get the houses, the pop space going. His age up will be delayed as a result. He's got lots of villagers on coin, so with 600 coin already mined, hopefully it's not the 700 coin shipment being sent, but maybe the 700 food. However, it might be because he's got readily access available to 2 mines, but only holding that 1 hunt so far is hurting danielek at this point. 700 coin comes in, and are we going for doppelsonders in queue? Units in queue, 1 Abus gun, 1 settler. No, it looks like the coin has been used to assist in an age up. However, the macro on the food is low at this point. He is struggling to get access to the food. You've got quite a lot of villagers gathering food on the outside. He does have hunting docks, no steel traps at this point. It's too late for him to afford that now, especially with his crossbow production early on. And wookl he could possibly put a bit of pressure on at this point, knowing that the German player has backed off. If he's backing off, he's not going to back off to come again. He's backing off because he wants to get that tech advantage. So as long as the trading post maybe gather wood, rebuild the trading post, sends the 600 coin which just come in, use that to age up. The Ottoman player will be surely following up in the German player's footsteps very soon, and will both most likely be up at the same time because they both have access to the fast age politician, which is the exiled prince. Oh, this is ballsy. The Ottoman player is pushing into the German base while the German player is advancing, but while he's also about to advance himself. I'm a bit uncertain whether this is a good play, that he knows that the German player is advancing, so the German player hasn't got all those extra resources to defend, or whether he just knows that he is ahead in military and he can kind of squeeze every bit of resource he can while the military numbers are low. 2 Ulans are making their way into the Ottoman base. The Ottoman hunt's gone out of the way, and there's been a very slow reaction to this. Hussar's on the way back, but there's been no Vil punching or Vil muckering himself. He's only just researched Greatcoat, but that's 30% of your eco. Well, I don't need to type to the players to remind them of the 4 TP stagecoat. However, as quite often is, players will get their Greatcoats after they've got cavalry on their villagers, killing the villagers before that upgrade comes in, and it only costs 75 food, I believe, so it's an easy upgrade to pick off into like the 5th, the 6th, the 7th minute, and so he could have saved an extra villager there from having extra HP. wookl is on his way up there. He should soon be up. Tech's being researched. I assume he's going with the messenger, not to say the scout. Yeah, he's going with the exiled prince, which is the fast age. Obviously, the messenger is the one for the native settlements. And we've got to find out what the first opening shipments of the German and Ottoman player are going to be. 2 Hussars made from the Ottoman stable, and he still has controls, total supremacy over the trading post line, while the German player is still in his base waiting. He's going through both his coin mines, but at least compared to the previous German era we saw at the start of the series, at least both his coin mines are available to be used even into later minutes of the game, because he opened up with wood units like the crossbow and the pike. 3 war wagons have been shipped as an opening card, but as we said, Abus gun poking in onto the villagers trying to get the food. Abus don't do fantastic versus the villagers, but any free shot is a free shot. You can take it while you can. Now, danielek has the advantage of the tech being up in tech before wookl, but with no trading posts, with no XP coming in, his shipment progression will be very slow, where wookl, if he wants to, can convert some to XP, but more importantly, with the Germans' penalty on XP progression, especially as it's been recently increased by a couple of % as well, the on player may want to hold off and get a bit more momentum and mass before he engages with the German player, because he knows that the steam is on his side. He's got the he might. Well, the economy is quite. Well, it's actually German favourite at this point because the Germans picked up one trading post of his own. He's got 35 economic unit population. Even recalculate the same. Okay, push coming in. Janissaries at the front. 8 Abers gun at the back, targeting down the war wagon. Hussars, lots of Hussars, snaring the war wagon so they can't run away. He knows that the war wagons are the key to the Germans' defence at the moment. Once the war wagons go down, then the Hussars are free to reign. Pikemen's onto the Hussars. The Abers gun had picked off a few of them. Now the war wagons are trying to run away, but they're running towards the Ottoman base, which is quite a risky situation. We've still got a decent mass of Abers guns firing at the war wagons in the background, and the Hussars are just cleaning up some of the colonial infantry of the Expos and a few of the skirmishers. The entire forward army of the Danielek has been desolated by the army of the Turks. We've got 2 Ulans at the top raiding 2 villagers, as well as 5 war wagons in the centre of the map waiting for reinforcements. Yeah, it's a good decision to not push in with 5 war wagons because you can't trade off. You don't want to trade off units when you have a inferior military population. Wait for the next shipment to come in. Wait for some more military units in queue like the skirmishers and the war wagons before re-pushing out and doing damage. To be fair, at the moment in time, the clock, it's hard to say who's under the more pressure because wookl does have the military advantage, but his economic potential is down at the moment because he's only got 2 training posts. Danielek has stolen one off him as well, so there's only 1 TP advantage, but there's not many settlers for wookl. He's only down to 13 settlers in the second. These Uhlans have been doing bits at the top on the raid. Units lost. Ooh, 12 settlers for wookl. This would not be a great way to lose your final game due to having a decent strategy, controlling the map, having good military fights, but losing 12 settlers due to raids. This is not. You can see the score is starting to get away from the Ottoman player here. He needs to do his best to try and come back into this match. He shipped 5 Hussars, 8 Janissaries as shipments. But with only 14 settlers back in base and only 2 training posts going, he hasn't got much of a reinforcement push moving forwards. 8 skirmishers shipped by the German player. The German player has a large military contingency of both skirmishers and war wagons. I mean, it's an ideal 3-unit combo of equal mass, really. Uhlans are still second age. He hasn't got the wood available to get them to veteran, but he does have a sizable amount of bank at the moment. He can either push in the advantage while he can take off his free picks here, or he can wait until he's invested the entire resources he has available into his army and push when he knows he's got the maximum leverage over his opponent and maximum chances of cleaning up and taking a final fight. Raids coming in from the east side. wookl, 4 veteran Hussars scaring off German miners on their exposed coin mines. Now that he's seen the miners on this coin mine, he knows that the German has run out of in-base coin, and both the south coin mine and the east coin mine are open up to raiding, and he has to do his best with his cavalry to position them to get a decent raid in without being caught by either the German Uhlans or the German war wagons. Abers guns and Janissaries at the back, chilling out, visiting a few relatives at the houses. Unfortunately, the Abers gun's been upgraded to veteran. The Janissaries, where he shipped 8 Janissaries in the Fortress Age, are still secondary age, and I was wondering if maybe there might be a different shipment to send over 8 Janissaries if you were not going to upgrade them. Currently, 1,000 food for wookl and over 250 coin. With 1 shipment incoming, there's only one thing which that can mean if you want to spend 1,000 resources quickly. That could be the 5 Spahi card. Now, 5 Spahi, I want to say they've had their range resist increased to 20%, just like the Hussars, and they have like a 750, 800 HP, which would be very good to tank. However, when you have 13 war wagons of the German player, with cavalry combat soon to be shipped, I imagine, to further strengthen his predominantly cavalry-heavy army, they may go down a bit too fast to get further use. Hussars still trying to postulate and get some good positioning on the raids to the east side, and some of the German settler wagons are moving forward to capture this hunt as well, and moving with the army to stay protected. Now that the army is in this zone and territory of the map, these coin miners are absolutely safe. These miners are exposed with very little line of sight protecting them. He's only got a single house here, so if anything came in like those Hussars wanting to raid all maybe that spy shipment, could be in trouble. 8 Uhlans shipped from the home city. If this was Cav combat, that'd be the most prime times in Cav combat. However, 8 Uhlans is also a good shipment. Veteran Uhlan has come in as well. Hand cavalry with high DPS be a great asset to have against the 5 Spahis, who are more of a tanky unit. They do have hand attack with area splash damage. However, when you're up against hand cavalry like the German Ulan with such a high base hand attack, the range resist won't come into play, and being significantly outnumbered in terms of cavalry units on the floor would be a big issue for wookl to defend with. Right, he has his Abus gun Janus in a mass group. He's coming poking onto the war wagons, and this is not a great angle for the Cav popping out. The Cav pops on the south side. He's only got a small amount of surface area on this fight. All the war wagons at the back, most of them are safely away from the Abus guns, firing onto the, focusing down on the Spahi. You can see that there's a focus on the Spahi. Janus is in hand-to-hand combat. That's a good use of them. However, most of the Hussars gone down. All the Spahi has gone down. Just the Abus gun remaining. Ulan's cleaning up, and we have our final game. GG going to Danielek 3-2. He's just done the comeback from 2-0 down to 3-2, and I don't think anybody could have. I don't think anybody could have expected these line of results. Maybe the final result, but not the line of results of wookl taking an early 2-0 advantage with Danielek coming back to 3-2. The early push of the German player unsettled the Ottomans' grasp of control of the trading post line, and once he lost his trading line post, the economy of the Ottomans started to suffer. But then after the German player captured the trading line post and supercharged his own economy, the economic difference became very large, and then he used that to outproduce military units versus the Ottoman, and took an engagement when he was ready to, after he was very happy with the amount of resources he put into, and took a very one-sided final fights to clean up the series and have a very safe ending to the match from his point of view. The worst thing you want to do in a deciding game is to throw away a winning position. He played out the most optimal way he can. I wonder if he had a Cav combat on the way afterwards, and he's going to finish this game 3-2. Just looking at the timeline for villager count, and yeah, it's sad to see that the most amount of villagers wookl had was at 8 minutes, really. Well, okay, technically 9, but at 8 minutes he had a villager in queue, but was popped by the house. But after this point, his economic just potentially just went down and down for the next 5 minutes from here. So he delayed setup production, a big raid there. That was 3. That was 1. That was 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if actually at this point was the point where he got the greatcoats. It's either this raid here or this raid. But it didn't save him from losing more villagers. 14 vills at 14 minutes. That's a stat you don't normally hear that often. He came back with vill production, but the German player had the TP control as well as the military production and military population advantage, which once he had the economic lead, he just sat back, got that lead going and going, got a large lead over the Ottoman player, walked into his base, positioned his cavalry in front of his ranged cavalry, focused down the cavalry units, the Spahis of the Ottoman player, and then took a very decisive and safe victory in that engagement, and then finished off the game in series.